everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to make some Colombian styled beef and potato empanadas. But first, I would like to share some of the feedback that I got from my first video. So I did mention that I might have used a little bit too much oil in it, and I definitely did. So some of the feedback that I got from my mom and my older sister was that I don't need oil to cook the beef, and I put a little bit too much oil when I cooked the beef. I also had to coat the container that I was baking the lasagna in with some oil, so I just poured some in there and then moved it around. But my sister said that I should have probably used some cooking oil spray, cooking oil spray, non-stick, whatever. So I bought myself this. And then also, instead of boiling the noodles in the water and the salt and then coating it with oil so they don't stick together, one of the tips that I also got was to boil the noodles with the oil inside of it, so that way it's already not going to stick to each other. Okay, so let's get started on the recipe. So the first step is to prepare the filling for the empanada. You with flowers in your hand, you were dancing with your headphones on, didn't get that. So first thing I'm doing is peeling the potato. Then I'm going to cut it up into little cubes. You were posing for them, yeah, you were striding for them, 'cause you know just what you do. Peeled up potato, and now I'm going to chop it up. You know I'm going crazy, I can't help myself anymore, 'cause I've been looking for the one, and now I think I found your love, 'cause things have never been this good before. 'Cause you're dancing in the corner, you're dancing how you wanna, I can't help but smile. Okay, so now I have my chopped up potatoes, and I'm going to put them inside some water in a pot and have that boil with some salt. So I'm going to put some salt in here, and you want to make sure that the potatoes are covered with water, so I gotta add a little bit more water in here. Put some salt. This has 1 tablespoon if you want to be exact, so 1 tablespoon of salt. So these are the potatoes, and I'm just gonna add a little bit more, I'm just gonna add a little bit more water so that all the potatoes are covered up nicely. So we're gonna let it boil, and then we're gonna bring it down to a simmer and let it cook for about 10 minutes with the lid on it. We're now going to take some tomatoes. The recipe said beefsteak tomatoes. Beefsteak tomatoes, I never heard of that. But I had these tomatoes, so I'm gonna cut these in half, and I'm gonna just use these. So I'm going to take the tomatoes and use this grater, and it said to grate the tomatoes. So I'm going to do that here into a small bowl. This is hard. This is hard for me to walk away. Honestly, it's such a shame when my friends are getting in the way. I hope the fact that this is a different kind of tomato doesn't affect what I'm doing. So now I have the tomatoes that I grated. This is what it looks like. So yes, I'm going to set this over to the side as I wait for the potatoes to finish boiling. I'm just gonna stab it with a fork real quick and see if it's done. The first 10 minutes ended already, but I added some more time since it was still hard. So I'm just gonna poke it to make sure it's simmering. Okay, they are done. They're pretty soft right now. So I'm going to turn this off and drain the potatoes. I'm going to drain the potatoes using this. And then we're going to set this to the side and just leave it there for a little bit while we move on to the next step. So the next step is the meat part of the empanada. So this is a pound. We're going to use half a pound of beef. I chose beef. You could choose pork, chicken, whichever you want, but I'm going to be using beef. I don't know why, but I like beef. I like beef. Stop. Oh my god, I'm so funny. I'm talking about the meme, if nobody knows about that.
I smell like beef. I smell like beef. I smell like beef.
Okay, so I'm going to use half a pound of this, and so I'm just gonna cut it in half because this is a pound of beef, and I'm going to cook it in the skillet, like I did similar to my last video with the lasagna. This recipe is also saying to put oil in it. My family told me not to put oil in it. I'm just gonna spray a little bit of this, because why not? So I'm going to turn that on, spray a little bit of this, and then just add the beef to it. I'm going to cut this in half. And just throw it in there and break it up. So we're going to cook this up to make sure that there's no pink left. While we're cooking up the meat, we're going to throw in the seasoning as well. Can never go wrong with some sazon, the perfect seasoning. We're going to cook this up until it is dry.
Ready. Baby, I don't really know what you want to. Maybe you can show me what you can do. Or we can turn up if you want to. Dance all night if you want to. Drinks all night if you want to.
I pulled this recipe from the New York Times cooking section, and I'll be providing the link down below. So now that the meat is all cooked and dried up, we are going to combine the potato and the meat together inside of this bowl.
Girl, but you remember you say you want me. Send girl my heart, come call me. Tell somebody.
It smells pretty good too. You can also add a little bit more seasoning if you like taste it a little bit and realize that you might need a little bit more. That's fine. Some salt, pepper.
Dance all night if you want to. Drinks all night if you want to. Change your whole life and we gon' do.
I'm also super grateful still. I mentioned this in my first video as well, but a lot of my cooking supplies I got as gifts from my friends, family, from school. So I'm going to taste the meat and potato mixture and see if I want to add any more seasoning to it before I let it cool down and whatnot. I could use some more salt. But it's good. So I'm going to throw some salt in there. I could use some more pepper. I thought I put in a lot of pepper, but I guess not. I'm gonna just use some onion powder. You're gonna mix that seasoning in there because you want the whole thing to taste good and not just part of it. I also like using this because it has everything. So I'm gonna throw some of this in there. So I'm gonna use some paprika as well. Sprinkle this in there. Just gonna eyeball it. I usually just eyeball everything. I think that'll be good. So yeah, so you're gonna finish mixing that in, cool it down, and then we're gonna work on the empanada part of the empanada. The outside part. So I bought this. So we're going to combine this with some salt, 2 cups of water in a large bowl, and then we're gonna stir it with my hands. So I'm now going to put 2 cups of this into this bowl. So here we go. Seasoning I winged, but stuff like this, obviously it would be best if you don't wing it.
From you looking at my eyes, girl, you know what's in me. Jingle bring the beat alive every time, you know.
So we're going to massage this into it. Oh my goodness. So I'm massaging the masa arepa with the water and the salt. It says to massage into a smooth dough. So I'm massaging it into a smooth dough. That's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I think this is a smooth dough. So take a small ball into your hand. Is this a smooth dough? Yeah. And press it flat. No, yeah, this definitely, 2 cups was too much water. Oh my goodness. This is why I wing things. This is why I use a measuring cup and everything. Ah! So the recipe says if you need more water, use teaspoon at a time. But I need more of this. So I'm gonna do this 1 teaspoon at a time. Or 2 teaspoons because I'm gonna start winging it. Recipes never know what they're talking about. I added more powder. I also didn't like using my hands, so I'm using this now. So I'm just gonna mix this in. I'll massage it with the spoon. I added 2 teaspoons more of the masarepa powder, or is it just masarepa? I don't know. And I used the spoon this time because I did not enjoy using my hands doing it. So I used the spoon, and this looks like a smooth dough now. This is why I wing it, because recipes always disappoint me. So now I can actually like pick it up and make the balls that they're telling me to do. It says take a small ball in your hand and press it flat. So I'm gonna roll it into a ball and press it flat. It said if it cracks, use more water. But this is perfect! Oh my goodness. I think. Is it perfect? Because I can't pick it up. Maybe I should add more powder because I couldn't even pick it up. I couldn't even pick up the thing. Okay, wait, I'm gonna try this again. I'm gonna roll it into a ball. I'm gonna flatten it. Nah, I think it might need more powder because, let me see. Because, nah, yeah. 2 cups my butt. So another tablespoon of the powder. And maybe this will be it. So I went back to massaging it with my hands because it's less mushy now and it actually looks like dough. I'm finishing up massaging this, getting all the powder in there. So let's see if I can make the little discs without struggling. Roll it into a ball, press it down so it could be a beautiful circle. Perfect. And then, so for one step of the recipe, it was just saying to roll it up into a ball and then press it down to see if it cracks, not to then take it off. So a better way to do it, so I'm gonna start all over. I'm gonna start all over because this is wrong. Throw this all back in the bowl. But it's okay. Sometimes I don't read instructions correctly. So now what we're going to do is take them, roll it into a small ball. Roll as many balls as we can. I'm going to test it out with like the bigger ones and then the smaller ones, but I think this might be the actual size. So now I have my little balls and I'm going to, this is the Ziploc bag, place one in there, one at a time. The recipe says to use a skillet, but I'm just gonna use anything flat. And what's more perfect than my coasters? That's about the size that it's supposed to be. So then we are going to smush it until it's flat. And now I have these ready. They're perfect circles, look at them. So we're gonna let them sit for about 15 minutes. It says to cover them. Don't really have anything to cover them with. Yeah, I don't have anything to cover them with. So I think I'm just gonna put it in the oven. It's not on, it's just gonna, you know, technically that's covered. I bought this thinking it would fit in here. My small little oven stove. And it doesn't. So, guess I'm gonna have to use this. And I'll just do a few of them at a time then. Hey Google, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, and we're starting now.
So now that this is small enough to cover, I put the other ones in the fridge. I'm going to use a clean towel and put it over and just let it sit. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. So I'm just gonna start using these and start assembling the empanada. We're going to use the meat again and the potatoes. It's supposed to be cold. The ingredients also said to put it in the fridge to speed up the cooling process, but it's cold. So we're going to use 2 teaspoons of the meat, and we are going to put it at the center of the disc. So now we are going to lift the front and the back edges and seal them at the top, gently pushing them together. So let's do this one first. So I'll lift it and close it like a little envelope and then squish the top. I'm also going to just use this fork to kind of make sure it's pressed on. And just make sure that it's closed. I just know I'm mostly doing this because I know that's how like Dominican empanadas are made. This one's kind of little. Maybe this one could use less meat. This one looked busted. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, so some of them are a little bit small, too small, so I have to take out some meat or add a little bit to like patch it up. And voila! Okay, so I'm a bozo because I thought we were gonna bake them. I'm pretty sure there's some baked ones. Are they all deep fried? I don't know. But so I'm gonna continue doing these two, putting the 2 teaspoons of meat inside and doing the same thing I did to make the first 4. So I'll be making a bunch for myself. Oh, I also made some new friends actually. Maybe I can give my new friends some empanadas too. So for the next step, we're going to prepare the oil that we're going to fry them in. I'm going to be using this pot, filling this up with oil. The recipe said 2 quarts of oil. That's a lot. This is, what is this? 1.5? This is 1 quart. So imagine using 2 of these. That's too much. So I'm going to just fill it up until I'm pretty sure, oh wait, if I use a smaller pot, then it'll be better. Okay. So I'm going to use this pot and I'm going to fry these empanadas in there. I'm going to add the oil now. I think I'm gonna use half. And then I'm going to heat the oil up, and when it's ready, I'll start deep frying it. So the recipe says to heat the oil up until 375 degrees. I don't have a temperature measure thing for that. So I'm just going to give it like 5 minutes maybe before I start frying them. Okay, so I believe that the oil is ready for me to use. I'm gonna use this to dip them each in to the pot. So it doesn't cover the whole thing, and I'll show you in a second. It doesn't cover the whole empanada, but I'm just going to, just because I don't want to be wasteful and use so much oil, like what am I gonna do with them? So I'm just gonna see if I can flip it after a couple minutes to get the other side fried. While the other empanadas cook, I'm setting these up. We are also cooking them, frying them for a few minutes until you can see that they are turning gold. And that was just there for about 2 minutes, I believe. But just make sure you're keeping an eye on it so that you know and you can see that it's starting to golden up, and then do what you gotta do. Take it out, flip it, whatever you ended up doing. Looks like they are ready to come out. Just gonna flip them again to make sure. And they look good. Or at least they look good to me. Beautiful. So now we'll be taking these out and putting them in a container. So I'm going to put paper towels inside of here and then be taking out the empanadas and putting them in there. So that's why I use this one, so that it could drain, like this utensil, don't know what it's called, so that it could drain a little bit before putting it in the thing. They smell so good. I'm so excited. This was a little bit of a mission. We are almost done. Woohoo! Almost there. Big summer blowout.
Woohoo! Big summer blowout.
And you might also want to be mindful of where you have the heat set up. So I'm like raising the heat, lowering the heat, depending on like what I feel like is best. Oh my goodness, these look so good. I'm so hungry. So these are the finished product. Picked my top 3 for the taste testing. But they look good. They smell good. Now let's see what they taste like. So I'm super excited to taste these empanadas. They're gonna be so good. They look good. Ooh, they look so good. So let me see. They might be a little hot still, but I'm gonna give it a little taste. And let's see. Okay. I'm so happy. Oh my god, it tastes so good. They taste really good. Who would have thought? Who would have thought I'd ever be making empanadas? But these are really good. I'm gonna start making them for my family, for my friends. They're gonna start telling me to make them for the functions, for the parties, and I'll gladly make them because these are so good. Wow, this is better than the lasagna. So I'm gonna give it, I feel like I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because like that's too good of a rating, you know? But I think I'm gonna have to do it. I think it's a 10. It's definitely a 10. Look at this. Look. It's mashed in with the potato, the meat, the grated tomato, and all that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so now I have my chopped up tomatoes. Not tomatoes.